Hello and welcome to Bobo Bun's So Vintage Life. I'm Lisa, a vintage inspired dressmaker and dressmaking teacher. It's lovely to have you join me again, and also if you're new here, a big hello. I've noticed I've had quite a few new subscribers lately. I'm thrilled to have you come along and sharing all that I share with you over on my channel. Today I'm going to show you some more vintage fabric finds. A few chats ago I shared with you the vintage fabric and the things I was going to do with it. Today I've found some more. I've been really lucky, I think, because it's the start of summer. There's so many vintage markets happening. It's like the May-June time, and sometimes in August, when they all happen, and you can really go treasure hunting and find some beauty. So I wanted to show you some of the things I've got and the plans that I've got for them. One is something I've already made, so shall we get on with the show and tell time? Now the first thing I'm going to show you isn't a fabric, but it has fabric plans. It's this beautiful little flip lid picnic basket. I found it in the charity shop a while ago, and the inside is really faded, so it's all padded here. That's still okay, but I'm thinking of taking it all off and making a new lining for our picnic basket. In the summer months, we love to go on a good picnic. Any of the places that we visit, we always pack up some good food, and normally I just use one of my other baskets, but to find a flip lid picnic basket is just the ultimate. I was really thrilled with it. I remember sending my daughter a photo. It's my youngest daughter who's usually around to come out on picnics with me. We love visiting historical houses and whatnot, so yeah, I sent her a photo of this basket and I said, should I get it? I mean, it wasn't hugely expensive, but you know, you've really got so much room for things, and I got a definite yes straight back. So one of the fabrics I'm thinking of lining this with is a 1950s scrap that I got recently. At the Little Vintage Love Affair, there was, my friend Teresa had a £5 bag of goodies, and the blouse that I showed you 2 videos ago, how to make the 1950s blouse, you know, from copying an original, that was using part of this £5 scrap bag, and I got some other pieces from it as well. And one is this delightful, let's turn it around so you can see, I've just noticed there's a hole in that part, but it's got poodles on it. It's a red and white stripe, and it's got little bones on there and poodles. It's absolutely gorgeous. And if you look, this is obviously a lower half of a dress, the little pocket with the rickrack's still on it. So that's all the bottom half there. They've all been salvaged from something or other, but I thought that would be lovely to line our basket with. Also in her scrap bag was this, and there's loads of it. It's a brushed cotton. It's a really lovely pale blue with flowers on brushed cotton, and I'm thinking there'll be enough to make a pair of pyjama bottoms, nice cozy pyjama bottoms for the winter time. So that's what that's going to become. They've all been washed, so they smell rather delicious. Now before that, because I'm trying to remember which were Teresa's and which weren't, before that, in my sewing club, one of the lovely ladies who's new to sewing club, she was cutting out her pattern to make a toile for fitting a dress. The fabric she had laid it on the table was this, and she obviously didn't like it, that's why she was using it as a toile, and I just said, oh my god, that's so lovely. And she said, well, I'd have given it to you all, you know, all of it to you, but I haven't got anything else to make my toile with, so I'll try and cut out really carefully and you can have what's left over, which was so kind of her. So I've got enough to make a blouse or a top, and I just think that's really lovely. It's a really nice sort of autumnal, wintry floral, so I've got that. It's awful, I have to throw these all down and then fold them up properly later on. Now, quite a few weekends ago, there was a lovely fabric sale at, it's called the Forgotten Fabrics Clear Out, and it happens earlier in the year, sort of springtime, and then in September. And you have a mix of contemporary fabrics, people just having a clear out, and some vintage sellers, you know, that's what I go for. And on that weekend, Nikki of Missy Mop Fabrics come up to Norwich to sell at Whitwell on the Sunday, and we met up on the Saturday and I took around some of my haunts while we were out treasure hunting. So I love when fabrics smell really lovely, you know, the washing powders. I found this beautiful satin, and it's sort of a fleece backed and there's enough to make a lovely jacket from. It's got blue roses on it, if you can see, and a paisley pattern, which is quite unusual for me. I don't normally like paisley, but I was really drawn to this. I don't know if you can see the shine in the video, if that's actually picking up at all, but yeah, I really love this one. And my plan for this is to make a 1920s stroke early 30s inspired jacket. It's going to be something that I will be sharing with my Patreons, but that's been put aside for that, so I know exactly what that's going to become in the future. And also at Whitwell, I'm just thinking this was still from Teresa and the other bits from Whitwell. I managed to get this from her £5 scrap bag. This beautiful square here. It's like a pinky red with mustard and purple flowers on. I haven't decided yet what I'm doing with that, but it's just too glorious. I mean, it'd make an absolutely stunning dress, wouldn't it? But the nature of vintage, it's whatever you can get hold of, and it's just such a lovely feeling being able to repurpose these into something that will be used and will be, you know, will have a longer lifespan rather than just sitting there doing nothing. Now at Whitwell, which I was just talking about, I got some other fabric scraps. They're not very large pieces, they were all £1 each rolled up into bundles. And there's this absolutely gorgeous cotton here. That's got a little pocket on it still as well, so you can tell what they've been repurposed from. These fabrics were on the stall of a man who's a textile designer, so he buys all of these to use them as inspiration for his designs and then sells the fabric on. But yeah, again, I would love enough of this to make a lovely dress. It's just absolutely beautiful, but I haven't, so I can just enjoy the amount I've got. I mean, I'm going to say the same for all of these, what beautiful clothes they would make. I got 2 pieces of this one, and this is like a very dark floral navy, and this one, and I'll show you what some of these are going to become in a moment. And then, oh, this is another favourite of mine. So I've got a hair falling down and really tickling me. This is absolutely glorious, isn't it? Now, what an amazing shirt dress that would make, you know, 40-star shirt dress in that would be absolutely stunning, but I only have that small piece. Now this one I really loved. I have some ideas to incorporate this into a dress, you know, with some mix and match fabrics. I got 4 pieces of this print. It's like circles with florals on. It's really interesting cotton, but I have used it. This month at Bobo Buns Sewing Club, my Patreon, where people subscribe and I share various sewing content every month. We'll have a project at the beginning of the month for everybody. And then there's Bobo Buns Break Time News, where I talk about the theme of the month. It will have history, culture, fashion history, anything that I can think of that will be interesting and will reflect well on the theme, you know, sometimes drawn from literature and people of note. So I always really enjoy putting those together. And then there's a bonus project for my upper tier patrons, the Trixie patrons. There'll be visual images, I have a notice board, you know, there's bonus behind the scenes content, there's all sorts of things going on over there. Have a lot of fun planning it out every month, you know, and working to create, and then hearing, you know, the feedback. This month's theme is all about pockets, and I've just released the first of the month's pattern. It's a video tutorial to make these pocket bags here. Your hand goes in like the side, and these tie around your waist. They can be worn outside of your clothes, and look, it's got blush pink velvet inside. I made 2 of these. I'll pop up the other one that I made. I made that in the video tutorial, and then I gave it as a gift to my friend for her birthday, and she's utterly thrilled with it. Some of my patrons have said they've squealed with delight. This is the type of project they've been waiting for, so I'm so glad that they like it. And of course it uses up smaller bits of fabric, which I have a few of. Then I can make them to match my projects, and I'll be wearing this around my waist, sort of like my sewing tool belt. But you know, you could even use it to put the pegs in to hang out the laundry. Your knitting could be in there, you know, as you're walking around knitting, and or just an extra pocket for storage. So really, really useful. And I've called these the Lucy Locket pocket bags from the nursery rhyme. So some of the smaller scraps going to line a picnic basket, and they'll make pocket bags. Sometimes I'll use them for facings on clothes, or you know, patching different pieces in a very make do amend sort of way. I can make my zip purses from them, so there's always a use for those smaller bits of fabric as well as the larger ones. Now I'll show you a couple of other things I got at, well, I've got 3 other things I got at Whitwell. One of the other fabrics I got at Whitwell I'm already sewing, and I did already show that to you, a sneak peek in my 1950s blouse video, and I'll show you the bodice. It's this glorious black and pink sort of checked fabric from the 1950s. So I'm making another cocoa dress, which was May's project for my patrons over at Bobo Buns Sewing Club. So I'm making a second one because I'm not just designing these for my patrons, I'm designing them because they're the things that I am inspired by and I want to create. And it just gives me a bit of a cohesive whole to work through the months and share them with other people. I just absolutely love doing other fabrics I found at Whitwell. I found this amazing mustard. Can you see that? I don't know if it's gone blurry. It's a polka dot mustard. I'm not quite sure the fabric content, sort of got a satiny sort of feel to it. I'm thinking of a blouse, a Reva collared blouse like the navy one, and I did buy the navy 50 silk off the same buyer. My ring's getting stuck to the threads. Got to be careful with that. Add that to the pile. And I also got this glorious, it's sort of like a blush pink. It's going to be really well lined because it's very see-through, but it's a blush pink floral, this cotton. And I'm either thinking of a tea dress or a shirt dress for this one. I was going to make a blouse with it, but decisions. Sometimes they're just so lovely and you want to make all the things and you've got to wait until you know exactly the right thing. Is that showing up properly? Yes, it is. I don't want you to see blurry images of the fabric, do I? Now the last thing I found at the Whitwell train station was this. It was absolutely torrential rain that day, biblical showers, you know, you could barely move for the rain. Lots of sellers were packing up outside. There were a few under, you know, tarpaulin-y sort of gazebos. So I was rushing to get inside out of the rain. And then my daughter spotted this out of the corner of her eye and said, "Mum, go back." And I did, and it's 5 meters of this amazing 1950s fabric. So like some of the other ones where I've got a lot of it, I've really struggled to actually make it into something because I don't want to make the wrong decision. Ones like this, and I have got a pink one I've showed you in a previous video, but I also found in a charity shop a while ago this 1940s cold rayon. I'm not sure if I've shown it to you or not. I thought I had, but I just went and got it because I don't think I have. This one I absolutely adore. It's the most amazing mint green colour with this sort of blossom print. It's got yellow inside and black. And I just don't want to make the wrong decision with them because they've lasted this long. I've got so much fabric to make something incredible with. The decision's got to be the right one. So they're just sitting waiting, but I really, really want to make something with them. I was going to make something for my daughter's graduation from this one, but it doesn't quite match the shoes, but I might have to make it work because I absolutely adore this fabric. I just squealed when I found it. It was such a bargain. I mean, I can't believe how lucky I was with that one. I told you before about buying the scraps, the £5 scraps from my friend Teresa at Mannington Hall, the little vintage love affair there. But I also got some other lovely delights. And one was this amazing, can you see this Schiaparelli pattern? It's just incredible. If I come in, I don't know, where are we? There we are. Can you see those amazing deep welt pockets? It's a wraparound skirt. And in the bodice part of the dress are pockets also. I just love the interesting details. And as I saw the Schiaparelli exhibition, I was fortunate enough to go and see it in January of if it wasn't this year, it was like January 23, so last January. So that's a lovely reminder also of seeing that exhibition. Now, something else I found at the Little Vintage Lover Fair was this. It's a modern fabric, and there's about 4 meters of it, and it's a pink linen with this amazing ribbon, this white with red spot ribbon sewn all over it. And yeah, I was just, oh, I just was so thrilled when I saw it. And I'd got my red sandals on and they looked lovely below. So I'm going to make a full skirt with this. It would just be too much, I think, on a dress. I just don't think I want to wear it all over. I can make a top with what's left. So I'm going to make a skirt from this. And then with red sandals, I can wear different coloured tops with it. Or black sandals, even to put accents of black. Do whatever I want. So I've got that one. And my final fabric find is not a find from a charity shop or a vintage fair. This is one that I bought from Nikki of Missy Mop Fabrics, who sources the most amazing dead stock and vintage fabrics, plus trims, all sorts of things. So she's definitely worth checking out, you know, on your trail of trying to find things. And this fabric here, I think it's called Dorothy, it kept popping up in her feed. I really loved it. It's a crepe. I'll just hold it up so you can see it. And it kept popping up, and then I just knew if I didn't get some, I would be really disappointed. So I got myself some. It's just absolutely beautiful. So whilst it's not vintage, it's got vintage vibes, and I am rather partial to florals on black. I've got quite a few florals on black dresses. They just always make me happy. So I know what I want to do with this. I want to do something very Vampire Wife inspired. That simple bodice with the French darts, with a longer length A-line skirt and a frill or several frills, who knows, but I just want to make something really gorgeous with this. Really pleased I got hold of this glorious fabric. I've made a few Vampire's Wife inspired dresses, and sadly as a brand they no longer exist. They had to close very recently. One of my students went to one of the days of the closing down sale in London. She said she went more as an event. There were some dresses she was interested in looking at and maybe buying, even though she didn't, because the one she wanted wasn't there. But she said she wanted to go to the spectacle of it, and she said it was just utterly fascinating. You know, people watching and things. She was quite surprised at how small a room it was in and everything. But yeah, it was rather an end of an era. That is like the brand Bieber. They were utterly amazing, but they had a short-lived tenure. Sometimes I think the brightest stars just sparkle in our firmament for so long, and then they just burn out, and they become part of our fashion history, our memory, and we just think how marvellous they were. So it was very sad that the brand went, but it has inspired so many of us. Have copied the designs when we can't afford the real thing, but it's been there to inspire us, as well as those who could afford it to enjoy the brand and all the creativity that came from it. I've shown you lots of fabrics, haven't I? And you're probably thinking, my goodness, that's a lot of sewing time then. Who knows if these things will get sewn this year, this summer, this when, but constantly having the ideas flow through my head. When they don't come is rather frustrating, but you can't force them. But when the ideas are there, I note them down in my books. I do sketches of what I want to do. Sometimes the plans change. That doesn't matter, because often a better one comes along. But until then, I've got more than enough to get on with. I've got my other sewing to finish. So in those moments when I get time to sew, I've beautiful fabrics to inspire me and to absolutely love wearing. I hope you've enjoyed coming along with me to see some of my vintage finds, and I realise there's some books I didn't share with you. That'll have to be shown another time, won't it? There's always things to be found. I do love treasure hunting and finding a bargain. Anyway, that is enough of all of that. So if you enjoy my videos, then please subscribe so you don't miss out whenever they pop up. Comment below, because it's lovely to have a chat with you. I will put any links of any of the dealers down below, so you can check out their wares if you, like me, love vintage fabric. And of course, like my video. YouTube likes you liking my videos. It helps people find me here. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I shall see you again very soon.